You might think you're crowded in here, but actually in the Philippines, I think we could fit a lot more people in this room. The Filipino people can fit a lot of people packed together if you're in the city or if you're in the jungle. Can you have a seat? There you go.
Are their houses bigger?
What I want to tell you is this isn't a playhouse and it's not a fort. Any Isnig family would be very happy to have this house. This house is built just like their houses. Same size, same kind. They can go to the jungle and get wood for the boards. These are bought from a hardware store, but they would cut theirs with a chainsaw and a machete and get boards, and they would go and find bamboo and weave a wall or make their floor. So this is just like their houses, yes.
Where do they sleep?
That's a good question. They don't have bedrooms like you, do they? But they need their house. During the day, they have to have the beds put away. So at nighttime when they get tired, they reach up near the ceiling. Up in the corner you can see that there's a cardboard there. They might have a piece of cardboard or they might have a woven mat, and they would lay it on the floor and that would be their bed, and they could cover up with a blanket. And in the morning they could fold it all up and put it away. Where do you suppose they eat, where they cook?
On the floor?
Right here in the corner. I don't know if you in the back can see it, but there's a wooden box here in the corner and it's filled with dirt so it doesn't catch on fire.
Oh, is that where they hold the like...
Okay, we'll do that next. But then they go down to the river and they get these 3 rocks and make a tripod, and then they can balance their pots on the rock. It's pretty good actually. And make their coffee or cook their rice or cook their vegetables. They can only cook one thing at a time, but in my wok I've got coffee. And the reason I have coffee is because the Islig people grow coffee, and if you came to visit they would give you a cup, cupali. And they actually might serve you your coffee in a coconut shell, or if they have enough cups they might give it to you in a coffee cup. Okay, but the Islig people can also take the coffee to town and sell it for money, and then they can buy some things that they can't get in the jungle. Do you see anything in the house that you can't get in the jungle? Yes.
Metal?
The metal. If you can save up enough money, you can have a metal roof. So the dad would go to town and buy the metal, but then he would hire a man that has a boat, and he would push your metal roof up the river in his boat. It would take him 3 days, and then you could build your metal roof. But a lot of people don't have that kind of money. So they would go cut long grass from the jungle and they would make a thatch roof, like the roof that you see there in the entryway. And that roof, it's actually thicker than that in the Philippines, and then that would last for a couple years, and then they would make a new roof. Yes.
Do they also get electricity because that's a phone?
They don't get electricity, but they do have phones, but they don't use them in the village. They might have a phone that it takes 8 hours to hike out to town. It takes 5 hours to hike to the nearest mountain that has cell signal. So they don't use their phones in the village, but they do like to have a phone when they go out to town to find out how their kids are doing or find out where the relatives are at. So they might have a phone, but they don't have electricity. So how do you suppose they see at night? The sun sets at 6 o'clock, but they don't like to go to bed till 7:30 or 8. Yes. Hands up, but there's no question? Yes, yeah. How do you suppose they see at night?
Lanterns?
Right. They make their own lanterns out of a jar or out of a can, and then they put some kind of a stem in there that's hollow. They might use a bit of an umbrella or something to put there, and then they can put a wick inside to get the kerosene. And they would light it and they would set it on the floor so it's like a little candle. And they would call this a pinky. But they wouldn't put a lit pinky up on the shelf because it might start the house on fire, and that would be pretty sad. Does anybody wonder why I've got firewood up here? Does anybody know why? How about you?
Me?
Yes.
I think maybe they would like make fire out of it.
They do, but they burn it down here. Why do I have it hanging? Yes.
Because the smoke dries.
Yeah, the heat from the fire would dry it out. In the jungle, it's really hard to get things to burn. So it's really good if they can dry it out before they start using it for the fire. And then above it, there's a shelf called the paga. They would put their bundles of rice up here before they pound it. It's easier to pound rice if it's all the way dry, to get it off the stalk and get that prickly husk off of it. And yes?
What is this stuff?
That's woven bamboo. Yeah. Okay, I have something here to show you. Let's let's see. Does anybody have any idea what this is?
Oh,
A helmet.
Yeah.
Helmet.
Yes? Okay, you're right. It is a coconut husk. When a coconut grows in a tree, it's got a big green husk on it. This one's dried out, so it's brown. And you can see inside there's the shell of the coconut. The meat's gone, but this is something in the house. Usually they throw the husk away. Why do they keep this one? Yes.
That's my sister. My mom. I think they use that maybe for birds.
They actually use it as a floor scrubber.
Oh.
They put it on the floor and they never use their hands. They always use their foot. They can polish the floor and make it shiny and clean. And if you were up here, you would see that I'm getting quite a lot of dirt off my floor. Well, the rooster crowed and that means your time here is finished. Have you gone to see the hunting and gathering station yet? Yeah. Okay, so you guys are done.
Koman. Does anybody know what that means? Koman. Koman. Koman means about rice fields. Rice field is koman. Now you might have seen a picture. How many people have seen a picture of a rice field? Yeah, they're flat with water in them, with the rice plants poking out of the water. That's not a koman. That's a different kind. That's the main kind of rice field, but the Isnig don't have that kind. They have koman. It doesn't have water in it at all. It's on a very steep mountain. So there's no water, just rainwater, and it's different from a matma. The flat one's called a matma. The one on a mountain slope is called koman. So today I'm going to tell you how Isnig make a koman. Now they have to have a koman. Every family in the village has a koman because they eat rice for breakfast, they eat rice for lunch, they eat rice for dinner, they eat rice for snack time. In a year, they eat sacks and sacks and sacks of rice. Where are they going to get all that rice? They can't afford to buy it at the store. They have to have a rice field. So every year, if you have a koman, you have to make a new one. It's only good for 1 year. So the first job is to decide, where am I going to put my rice field? So in January, the Isnig men start going around. Can you listen to me, please? The Isnig men start going around and they're looking, where can I put my rice field? And they're looking at the leaves. Now, does this look nice dark green here? Does this look like a nice dark green leaf, or is it kind of light? If it's light like this, you might think, I bet the soil isn't very good. But if it's dark like this, then you would say, oh, that's good soil. Maybe I'll make my rice field there. Then you're also looking at the trees. If the trees are little, you might say, oh, those trees, those are only 3 years old. Somebody already made a rice field here 3 years ago, and the soil is probably all used up. There's no more nutrients in it. So I'm going to look for a place with big trees and green leaves. So they look around and they find a place like this. Green, big trees. I'm going to make my rice field here. Do you think anybody made a rice field here before? Here?
No.
No, there's never been a rice field here. So this would be a great place to make a rice field. So the first thing they have to do is get their kumpai. And kumpai is kind of a machete with a curved blade on it. And it's not good for cutting wood, but it's very good for cutting grass and bushes. So see all the bushes? If this was your rice field, you will have to go out there and cut all the bushes down. And while they're cutting the bushes, while they're cutting them down, they find things. They find great big ants called umsi. And if they bite you, you'll yell because they take a chunk of skin right out. And you'll find bees. We have big blue bees in the Philippines. They're that big. And you'll find fuzzy caterpillars. Do we have fuzzy caterpillars here?
Little one.
Yeah, but if you ever go, we have fuzzy caterpillars here in Washington. They're black and orange and black, right? You hold them in your hand. I used to do that. But if you go to the Philippines, never touch a fuzzy caterpillar. Because even the little tiny ones will make you have welts all over your body. It's so itchy because they're poisonous. All the fuzzy caterpillars are poisonous. So when they're out there cutting, they're finding caterpillars and things. So It's hard work. It's hard work. The next thing they have to do is look up. They have to look up, and you see all the leaves in the trees? Hey boys, you're distracting other people. They can't listen because you guys are like talking and pointing at things and stuff. Can you just leave that alone? Can you? You think you could do that? Like a helicopter pilot? Just pay attention? Good. Alright. So, they look up and they have, the sun can't come down here. Right? There's too many leaves. So they're going to take their this is for cutting wood. They're going to climb every tree. There's no spikes on their boots. There's no safety belts. Just bare feet, up they go, and they cut up all the limbs. They have to climb this tree, and that tree, and that tree, and that tree. It's a lot of work, and it's dangerous because maybe it rained and the tree's slippery. Or maybe they'll reach for a branch and they'll go to cut it and they'll miss and hit their hand. That happens all the time. So it's hard work to make a rice field. Is it ready to plant? No, they need another tool. Is this a farming tool? Well, think about it for a minute. If your farm is covered with sticks and branches and dried leaves, and you want to plant it, but it's all covered with all this stuff, how are you going to clean up your field? You're going to burn it. One lighter, you can clean your field up in 10 minutes. Now, what would happen here in Washington if we cleaned our fields that way?
We would have a forest fire.
We would have a forest fire. Do they have forest fires in the jungle? No, because the jungle is so wet. It's always wet. So the only thing that will burn is their field. I'm gonna have to hurry. After they burn, they plant. They take their sod to what? Poke a hole, put rice seeds in it, and then cover it up with dirt. They do that all over the mountain. And then, after that, Bablot, they have to hoe. They have to hoe to get all the weeds down. Because if the weeds beat the rice and get taller than the rice, they won't have any food to eat. So they have to hoe for 3 weeks up to 2 months, depending on how well they burned their field. If they burned their field really hot, they won't have much hoeing. But if they didn't get a good burn on their field, they're going to have to hoe and hoe. Then after 2 months, the grain starts to turn yellow, and then they cut it with their raccoon. All right. I wish I had you guys longer, but time is coming. So I'm going to tell you how to go in a steak house. They don't have a doorbell, and the door is usually open. So the way you go in is you say, you just call on the outside. You call them and you say, apple, apple. So why don't you guys stand up, turn around to the house, and let's all try it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Apple, apple. She's saying, come in.
Use a tusk pour to help them dig. Thank you. And yeah, that too. And that is also kind of dangerous for hunters because when they use a spear on the boar, they don't exactly know where the boar is. Because the way that they hunt is that they wait until the rainy season, and because boars don't like being rained on, and so they like to hide underneath a pile of leaves so that they're protected from the rain. But when they do that, they release their breath, kind of like how you see your breath on a cold day. And when they do that, smoke or water vapor rises from the pile of leaves that they're hiding under, and so that's how the hunters identify that there is an animal there. And so now that they know that there's a boar, they would take a spear that looks like this.
Is that a real one?
This is a real spear that well, it's to dull the edges so that no one cuts themselves on it. But then they would get the spear and jam it in the leaf pile, and hopefully they would injure the boar sufficiently enough so that it can't attack them or charge them. So, yeah. And that's what makes hunting so dangerous.
They only charge
because the boar is an animal that can defend itself.
Yeah, you are. You're right. Not like rabbits.
No, yeah. Actually, speaking of hunting, or this is more trapping, but another way in which the Isnik people can get more food is they actually train a rooster to crow all the time. And they do that by giving it food every time it crows. So after a time, this rooster is very, very noisy because it's crowing all the time. And so once that rooster is able to do that, then they can set up a chicken snare, which is set up like so. And they would have the rooster right in the middle. And because it's trained to crow, it's going to crow even when it's in here. And the crowing noises are going to attract wild chicken in the forest. And they will come to investigate the noise. But when they come close to the rooster, they're going to come across these. And their legs are going to get caught in it. And the more they pull against the trap, the more their feet get ensnared. And so when they pull enough, they are completely trapped. There's no way they can get out of this.
Now your finger's trapped.
Well, yeah, but I'm a human, and so I can get out. But chickens can't. And so that's how.
You have wings.
Well, yeah, but this is tied down enough that they can't fly out even if they wanted to. Well, once they're trapped. But now they have the chickens, or the wild chickens, and the rooster. So they could do a couple things with the chicken that they caught. They can kill it, or they can use it, exactly, use it for eggs. But they would not kill this rooster. This rooster is kind of a pet to them now because they took so long in training it.
Thank you.
So it's almost like a pet dog or a pet cat.
Why is it eating? Because I'm a kitty.
Do you guys eat this?
What is it?
Take a guess.
Ew, it's a reptile.
There you go, it's a reptile.
It's an alligator!
It's a lizard. It's a lizard, yeah.
I want to eat that.
I wouldn't eat that.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think?
They eat that?
They eat that.
Oh.
Have you guys ever watched Survivor Man?
No, I have not.
Okay.
Just
Well, for the
like
people who have, the Isnik people kind of live like Survivor Man in the wilderness all the time. So, this lizard is actually a pretty big catch for them.
And they went back to the bananas.
In addition to hunting boars and the chickens, they also use goggles to hunt something that lives in the water. You know?
Fish.
Yes, fish. And as you can see, these goggles aren't very, they're not like normal goggles you'd find at a store. These are goggles that were made by the Isnik people, and they converted a whole bunch of stuff that they had to make makeshift goggles. And so, not right now, sorry. And so this band right here, this plastic band, came from the inside of a tire. So just cut it up and there you go. And so this wooden frame, do you think they found this wooden frame exactly like this?
No, they had to carve it.
Exactly. They hand carve a piece of wood to form goggle frames. And then what about this plastic?
Glass.
It's not glass, it's plastic. But it came from something. Much like how this rubber came from a tire.
A window.
Not a window. It came from the lens covering of a flashlight.
Oh,
Yeah.
that keeps it.
So, yeah, so it protects the light bulb. But they take it apart, and now they can they carve down the lens until it can fit into the frame.
That's something we should. Something we should use
Yeah.
money for.
And
the
so
money that we're
now this is complete. They can hunt for fish in the water.
we should be
But
doing.
they take very good care of this, even though it's not very expensive, because it took them a lot of time to make this and a lot of resources. So they're very careful with their stuff. This right here is a fruit that they gather. Yeah, it doesn't look very appetizing, does it?
No.
No. The reason why is because Like, would you guys eat a pineapple with the skin on it?
No.
No?
That's an old strawberry.
No, it's not. It's not an old strawberry. Yeah, I've had a lot of people say it's a very hairy strawberry, but it's not. Yeah.
It's a very hairy strawberry.
So you wouldn't eat this fruit with the skin on it. You can actually peel away the skin, and then you'll be left with a like a round white fruit. Now you can eat that. You can eat that, but you can't eat the seed that's in the middle.
Oh my god.
So,
Like a cherry.
Yeah, it's almost like a cherry.
I love cherries.
Yep. All right, guys, our time is just about up. So you guys are gonna head to the next station, which Jamin here is gonna lead you guys to.